Hello, everyone, and welcome to the episode 85 of the Office Hours
Mm.
podcast. Pardon us for this little break. Life kind of gets in the way. We have renos started in our place. Half the house is demolished. So it's kind of crazy. So if any noises from power tools happen to leak out into this recording, I apologize in advance. But yeah, it's fun. But at least with all the stuff being opened up, I'm actually able to run a bunch of Ethernet cables all the way from the basement up into the attic. So I'm future proofing my house. I'll be able to have like 10 Gs probably, or maybe 20 Gs over both cables if I choose to use it. So that's exciting. I don't have to dick around with weird technologies trying to get a little bit more speed up in here. So
What do you mean? What do you
that's
mean new technologies?
Well, I'm using Mocha to run Ethernet over coaxial cables, which works, but it's like a lot of things need to happen for that to work correctly. I'd rather just have like an Ethernet cable running all the way from below, which I will be having now, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah, yeah. You know what came to mind? I mean,
Mm,
something came to mind when you just say talking about this BitChat. You know BitChat, right? Like the new app from Jack Dorsey.
nope.
Vasili. Okay, so Jack Jack tweeted about his app, like his weekend project. Recently, not too long ago, I think a few weeks ago. And now it's on App Store and like on Android has like store too, right? Android Store, like
Yeah,
Google
Play
Store.
Store. Yeah.
Yeah, Play Store. And apparently this app is like a Bluetooth, uses Bluetooth to connect for people to send messages. So you can send messages with Bluetooth.
Right.
So it's not like internet. But I don't know
Okay.
why that came to mind. I'm just surprised, like why you wouldn't want to use like a regular, like, you know, maybe like a um internet multiplier or something like this to actually like increase the amount of internet you get at the attic, like instead of passing the cable that far. But maybe it's better this way, or
Well, I
maybe I
mean,
just
if you want bandwidth, like my problem with Wi-Fi is not very stable. It fluctuates a lot. Plus, everybody has Wi-Fi, and like the neighbors have Wi-Fi, the neighbor's dog has Wi-Fi, so the spectrum is
yeah.
fairly occupied. It's not too bad over here because we're in a townhouse complex. So it like if you live like in an apartment building, you open your Wi-Fi
Mm.
menu and it's just like pages and pages worth of access points. They all compete for the same radio frequencies, so you're not going to get
Maybe.
your maximum speed out of that. And
Yeah, maybe.
somebody has an old microwave from the 50s and that like zaps at 5 gigahertz range, like half of your Wi-Fi starts disconnecting. I'm
Yeah.
not about that life, so having a cable is much better. And
Honestly,
I
I think
think
so. Maybe. Maybe.
at a short range, I can probably get 10 gigabit over Cat 7. So I didn't even have to splurge out for like Cat 8 because those suckers are expensive. But yeah, I was just crimping the Cat 7 cables in my basement like just before we started. They're pretty cool. Like each pair is individually shielded, and then the whole thing is like shielded. So it's pretty sophisticated as far as cables go. So yeah, it's
Hmm.
good times.
Oh well. How have you been though? Like how's your summer going and and all? I mean
Yeah, no,
aside from
summer's
learning.
going good. We're just celebrating my wife's birthday. We rented a boat, went out to sea, saw some crazy expensive yacht parked in our harbor. Uh, that was pretty neat. This gentleman has a $160 million yacht that he just uses as like a house essentially on a sea. And then on top of that, there's a $30 million support vessel, which is basically a giant floating garage full of like motorcycles and ATVs and side by sides and sea-doos and a mini submarine and all
Who's
that
this
kind of
guy?
stuff. So the guy has a boat and then he has a slightly smaller boat to act as his garage. So he's doing really well for himself and I'm super happy for him.
Is this your friend?
No, of course not. But I mean, I still can be happy for somebody to achieve such heights, to be able to afford not one super yacht but two all at the same time. So that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you want to have a yacht?
Um, I don't know. I mean,
Oh, you don't
it's kind
know.
of cool, I guess, but it's an entire lifestyle. And considering I spend most of my time in this little room, spending $160 million on a yacht
Mm,
is probably not the best investment for me.
well, I mean, the way I see it is like if you have $160 million to invest in a yacht, would you do it? I think I would.
I wouldn't even consider a yacht an investment because like the maintenance, like the support vessel, from what I read online, the support vessel eats $3 million a year alone just to operate. Because it has like a crew of 20, and it has 160 tons tanks for diesel. So refueling that thing probably costs me a few years' salary alone.
That's the thing. Exactly, Vasili. This is the thing. We say it this way because right now you're thinking about it like
Because
that.
we're
But
not
if you have,
operating at those kind of number of zeros after
yeah,
the number.
if you have this amount of money, would you do it? Like
Oh,
if you
if I had
have
that
it.
amount of money, I probably would. Because why not? Um, but I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know. I probably would. If not, my wife would. She's the one for fancy lifestyles. So, you know,
You know, interesting question, yeah? Like
yeah.
recently at work, we were talking about someone winning the lotto. And I said, I said, if I win the lotto or like, I don't know, lottery or whatever, how is it called? If you win the lottery and then let's say like you win like $100 million or something like this, some outrageous amount of money, would you still want to work? And I think I would want to work.
I think so too, because in early 2000s, like 2010s, there was this whole thing with FIRE. It's like financial independence, retire early. For all those people who
Mm.
are like working 32 hours in a day to make as much money as possible and then like retire at 35. And that kind of died because I think that if you don't work, you don't really have anything to do. It's like, what is even the point? What's the point of it? I think like it's nice to be able to have a break every once in a while to kind of switch what you're doing and just enjoy yourself. But just procrastinating for the rest of your life is kind of, I don't know, it gets boring fast, you know? It kind of gets very regressive. Like I remember when I was a bunch of years back, like I was kind of in between jobs, and you just do the same thing every day over and over again. It's like you think you would start doing something exciting, but it's just like not really. Well, I mean, at least me personally. So if I don't have some external motivating force, it's gonna be pretty miserable for me, I'd imagine.
Yeah, but you could find. So when I said I would work, I don't know exactly what kind of work that would be, but I would still want to
Hmm.
do something productive with my day, like
Yeah.
something. But for me, I feel like at that stage, then you can actually create like for example, Jack Dorsey, he sold this company. I think Twitter was his company for a long time, and now he's coming up with like different kind of apps. I think recently he also posted about like a weather something kind of app recently. And at this point, I feel like you just do it, not because you want the pay, but you do something. Like you do something interesting, like
Yeah.
with your
Yeah.
time. If you
No.
had like if you had like this kind of opportunity right now, like what kind of projects would come to your mind to do?
uh well, I mean, there's a big unnamed project that I'm not gonna discuss here. So probably that.
Well,
I'm
well,
likely, even without having $160 million, I'm likely gonna dedicate all of my efforts to that. So
yeah, but aside from this one, This one?
Aside from that one, I don't know.
Hmm.
To be honest with you, currently I'm kind of a bit tired of programming.
Really?
Uh, so I I need to take a break, like a good. I need to take like a good break to kind of re-energize to think about doing something like that. That is just for fun. Because right now it doesn't feel like I'm having that much fun writing code. And now is not the right time to ask me what type of project I would do, because like right now I don't want to do any kind of project. I just want to chill.
Okay. Now I'm curious because I was gonna even ask you like what have you been like up to recently in terms of like work stuff? Like what's
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
most
Well, the
I
work stuff
mean,
goes on. We're doing like a bunch of maintenance on some older projects, so that's just like slow, steady, and not particularly interesting. Which I think also contributes to the fact that I'm not kind of like it's okay. Like I'm doing it, but it's whatever. It doesn't really nothing to write home about, so to speak. So, and for hobby stuff, I'm still like dicking around with like the Homelab and home automation. Now that we're doing the remodel for some things, I'm probably gonna be putting more stuff there. So yeah, um, that's kind of been occupying my time.
what do you mean by home lab? Like what does that mean? Like you
Well, like
mean
running servers, running virtual machines, like trying out different software, like migrating some stuff from the cloud back home into my own local network, like trying to just play around with some networking. A home lab. You never
how does that
used a
even
home lab?
start? Like uh, listen. I speak a different generation of technology, you know? Like, what does that even mean? Like, when you say, like, you want to run a home lab, like, what made you think of this? Like, why?
Well, I like self-hosting things, and so I bought a couple of machines that are fairly well fit for like an enthusiast grade servers for self-hosting.
Hmm.
Um, I didn't get a rack, and I didn't buy those super micro chassis that are very loud and power hungry. No, I just bought like a mini PC that's very beefy internally. And my original plan was I started to run out of disk space on my machine. And I thought like, okay, it looks like it's time to get a NAS, like a network attached storage where you have like a box full of hard disks where you store all of your stuff.
Hmm.
But I looked around at like commercial offerings, and you basically have like Synology and you have like QNAP, and they all are fairly expensive. They require licenses, and recently all of them started doing like these weird shenanigans where it's like, oh, you can only use hard drives that we allow to be used in our systems. And suddenly those hard drives are like 30% more. It's like, why? It's hard drives. Like at my level, a hard drive is a hard drive is a hard drive. I'm not looking for like five nines of reliability in a data center. I just want to store
Hmm.
some photos and video files on my own
Hmm.
box. And if they say, oh, you have to use our drives, it's like, nope, I don't think I will. And then there was this thing where, you know, in a previous version of the software, you were able to install this different type of file system, and then they released an upgrade putting that file system behind a paywall. And if you haven't paid for it, your system just bricked or something like that. I was like, I want nothing to do with that. Like, I don't want anything to do with their stupid things where they try to like screw you out of hardware that you already own. So I thought I'll build my own NAS, which I thought like, okay, I'm gonna get an enclosure, I'm gonna connect it to this mini PC, I'm gonna set up like Unraid or whatever. And I tried many different things, and the verdict is do not try to build a NAS using USB hard drive enclosures. It's just not worth it. And eventually, I ended up buying like a machine that has like a SATA backplane, and it has like slots for disks, and it's a different type of mini PC. So now I have two mini PCs effectively, and I'm using one for NAS, and I'm using the other one for VMs. They're both running Proxmox. They're clustered together, so I can like move software from one box to the other. They all like sit in my basement. They run my home automation. They run my blog. They run my photo sharing website. They run like my media center. They run a bunch of different things. So they run my VPNs. So for those purposes, I consider these things to be my home lab where I get to dick around with anything really that I want.
Yeah.
Without having to pay for VPS fees or something. I mean, I
Mhm.
still have VPSs for things like email because I don't want to do email on residential IP address. It's just a really bad idea.
Why?
Even running email on a VPS is a pretty bad idea, but I've managed for the last 20 years, so it's kind of
Why is the email a bad idea?
usually residential IP ranges are blocklisted by basically everybody because of spam originating from like hacked computers that people have. So
Mm.
if you put your mail server on a residential IP, you're gonna have deliverability problems out the wazoo. So just don't do it.
Okay. But when you build stuff like this, I mean, I think you also have a blog about this, right? Like
Yes.
yes.
Yeah, I
So
posted a few articles on my blog, which is blog.vasili.ly. So, it's pretty easy to remember. Go check it out.
yeah,
Subscribe. Join the pay tier.
yeah. And but the question I have for you about this is that how do you ensure that because if I understand the reason why you probably want to do this because you want to be able to be in control of your information, in control of your data, but being in control doesn't mean secure.
True. Um, Well, there's a couple of things for that. That's certainly true. I do have some mitigation software and some firewalling, and I'm not like exposing admin interfaces willy-nilly to the internet. And I'm also at the moment not really noticeable enough for people to care. Like I get automatic scans by various bots and various script kiddies, which are mostly noise. So far, I really haven't had too many problems with that. I think I had one case where a VPS that I had got broken into. I'm still not sure exactly why. Probably some vulnerable software on it, even though it didn't really have anything on it, which I had to basically scrub and destroy. But apart from that, in like the last 20 years, it's been fairly smooth. Not to jinx it, but
Would you consider um, a profession in hacking? Probably.
it's a different mindset. It's a very interesting one for sure. I think that in the basis of the type of knowledge that you need to know, I'm kind of on the other end of that spectrum, or not even a spectrum. It's like out of the entire programming domain, like a web like sits here, but then like all the low level C assembly stuff sit like diametrally opposite of that. And so I can appreciate it kind of in a theoretical sense, like if people talk about exploitation or something, I usually have a fairly decent idea of what they're talking about, but I don't think I have enough skills for practical implementation. There's this website called Hack the Box, which may have been renamed recently. I
Yeah.
haven't visited in a while, where you can basically they'll spin up a VM for you with some vulnerable software and they say, hey, go obtain this file from the file system and paste it here to show that you cracked it, right? And then you try different things to do that. Or they give you a binary like a crack me and you run the binary and it says enter code and you're supposed to figure out or bypass the code mechanism so it gives you like the flag message that you then paste into the site to say that you did it. So I tried a couple of crack me's. I managed to go through two of them successfully. They were like the basic level, very simple ones. So I don't remember one. I think I loaded both of them in Ghidra to like disassemble and do some stuff like isolate the subroutine that generates the code and then paste it in or something. So I managed to crack two out of however many they have. But as they get progressively more and more complicated, you need more and more kind of knowledge and you need to be able to read assembly, which I don't really know how to do. I had a little bit of assembly back in school on a very, very basic level. And there's certain way of thinking about things that these guys have, which always impresses me. It's like, how did they even come up with these weird attack vectors to do things like that? So like I can do a little bit of it. I can do kind of script kiddie-ish level things, maybe a little bit above, but like not really that much beyond. It would be cool, but it's just like I should have gone on that path way earlier in my career if I wanted to be successful in it right now. Right now, I think it's gonna take too much effort to retool into that.
I don't think, I mean, well, maybe it's not my place to say, but I don't think so. I feel like you will probably do good. And maybe if you back yourself a bit, maybe you might. And I say this because I feel right now, I can feel the passion that you were talking about, like
Yeah, well,
you
I mean, let me qualify that. First of all, if it's a job, it has to be commercially successful.
Mhm.
And I don't think that I'm in a position where I can trade a fairly high paying senior software engineer job for a fairly low paying entry security level job. So the commercial component kind of precludes me from making such wild career changes. So maybe if I had $160 million in the lottery, I could do
That's what you
that because
do.
then I wouldn't necessarily care. But so far, fiscal policy dictates that I don't really get to do that.
Well, you know what I'll do? You know what I've been thinking about? I feel like for me, I would probably, um, I really want to get into like this whole artificial intelligence thing, not just on the like a user level, but I feel like there is a lot that to actually explore with these things. And if I have free time right now, or like 160 million, I feel like I might invest in this. And not just because there's a lot of players right now, or like there's a lot of, but I just feel like there is a lot to learn about it. And one time we were talking, and then you were telling me about flying cars. And I think you told me, you said there was a movie. You said there was a movie about it, and like the cars were talking. I don't remember what the title of the movie. Anyway,
Anyway, I don't quite remember. I remember
yeah,
saying that we were promised flying cars by now, and we still don't have them. So
I feel like these things might
I think
happen.
they're getting
Maybe
closer. I think they're getting closer.
we have robot taxis now,
Yeah, I
and
guess maybe with the new, if they come up with some more fancy way of storing electricity, that may bring it much closer.
they don't
Uh,
already do.
well, I
I
mean,
think they
right
do.
now there's like lithium ion, various
Hmm.
chemistries, and that whole thing, which I don't think that there's going to be major breakthroughs in that to get like more power density and smaller volume. Because I think like most drones, they have to be able to lift themselves plus the battery plus cargo, right? And so they don't have enough power. And like the higher the weight, like eventually it just reaches the point where like it cannot even lift itself off the ground with the kind of energy density that we have right now. Like it's not that like you just build it bigger with bigger batteries and it still can fly and carry cargo. It's like at some point it outweighs the amount of like lift that it's able to generate. So unless they come up with some better
I don't. I
energy
think.
storage.
Do you know what? This is my argument, and it's very layman, right? Aeroplane is heavier than any car, and
Right, but they're using fuel. They're using carbon-based fuel, which has extremely high energy density compared to what we have with electricity right now. So there's a difference.
yeah, but there is already this technology, and
Hmm.
and also like it's not too far if we really want a flying car. Like it's. I mean, you know what? I don't want to get into it. I don't want to sound crazy here, but this kind of things interest me. So I feel like if I have like I mean, it's nothing to be honest. 160 million is not that much money anyway, but
Not
yeah.
that much money. I remember we had a podcast episode where it's like if you had that kind of money, what you would spend it on? I don't remember exactly at this point what we were exactly talking about, but I remember we were talking about it about a year and a half ago, very, very early on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
But
remember what you said?
I don't remember what I said. I'd have to go back to it and look through to see, or maybe, summarize it through some chat GPT, but whatever. I was watching this
Mm.
podcast. Do you know
Mhm.
DHH? The guy
The
who created Ruby
podcast
on
guy.
Rails?
Oh yeah,
No, no,
yeah.
no. Yeah, yeah. He created Ruby on Rails. So he was on Lex Friedman recently, and they had a 6-hour long podcast, which I haven't watched in its entirety, but they were talking about like these things among other things. They were talking about like AI and how they use AI, which I thought was pretty interesting. There's like a couple of interesting points in there. But one of the things he said is like when the airplane was first invented up until like the jet planes, the duration, like the amount of time was very short. So a person who witnessed the first airplane and in his lifetime witnessed the jet thought that 10 years from now we're going to be flying in the planes to other planets because of how fast the technology develops.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of tapered out, and we haven't really had any kind of major breakthroughs in that technology in a while. Like they're building bigger planes, but they get more complicated, they have more issues. So it's not like something fundamentally new in that entire domain. And so we think like, oh, we're like this close to flying cars, but like we've been this close to flying cars for a really long time. So it's probably gonna be still a while before that happens. Even though the initial surge of development was pretty rapid, I think we kind of plateaued in that sense again. So it's kind of hard to say when that's gonna happen.
Um,
Same
um,
thing kind of goes about AI. It's like because we've been in a point of time when there's like no AI to where we
mhm.
are now, we think that the trend line is just gonna keep sticking like hockey sticking forever. But historically, it's likely gonna taper off, and then the further development is gonna be much slower in our lifetime.
I
So
mean, I just imagine like people who will become software engineers in the next few years. I wonder how, when you tell someone like, oh yeah, you wrote about 1,000 lines of code out of your head on a Tuesday evening. I wonder if they would ever believe you. Like, would they ever believe you that you did this? Like
yeah,
a lot of things have changed
yeah,
and will change, but for the flying car, yeah, just to go back there, I feel like this is not so far, especially because now I think there is also like the political side of it. There is also like the whole um, approval side of it. Because if you have like flying cars, then where would they even fly? Like
right.
how would that work? Because like you still have to like make sure the world is not going into chaos or something
Right,
like
right.
this.
Like the infrastructure is not really realistically prepared for this even, right?
Exactly. So I
So
think,
yeah, it's gonna be a gimmick for a while. Yeah, but
yeah,
you know,
we'll see.
the funny thing is in that podcast they talked a lot about what we talked about AI and how it like we talked about how it makes it difficult for you to learn when it's doing all the work for you, and like they brought a lot of the same points, probably better articulated because I think like DHH is a really smart guy,
Okay.
but we
Mm-hmm.
kind of covered roughly a lot of the similar
Mm-hmm.
ideas, and I think there's a lot of overlap in my thinking compared to like his thinking. The only difference is that the Lex Friedman has 4.77 million subscribers, so those ideas get to spread, and we have
Mm-hmm.
137, so they also get to spread,
Oh,
just
we're
not
doing
as much.
good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like one of the things that he said, which I think is a really good way of putting it, is that you know if you want to learn how to play guitar, you can watch all the YouTube videos all you want. It's not going to teach you to play guitar. You actually have to strum yourself, right? It's kind of the
Mm-hmm.
same idea. It's like if it's doing all the work for you, you're not getting anything out of it. Like if you want to learn how to run, you have to run. You can't just watch videos about running. It's kind of the same idea. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's
and our
true.
episode was released before theirs did, so we were there first.
It's true. It's true. Honestly, it's true. But you know what? We can't fight this battle, and I think it is what it is at this point. So
Hmm.
the only thing is, I just think that as much as like there is this side of it about like learning it. I feel like when it comes to the creativity side of it, I think having this type of tools will also like help people who have knowledge of what they're doing get more creative. You understand? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
if you're learning from the beginning, it's a different thing. But it's a tool in the hands of someone who knows what they're doing. It's it could be really very it could be the game changer. And
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is my
yeah,
point of
yeah,
view.
yeah.
So
No, it's
yeah,
just you started talking about the context of somebody learning to program right now, and that's why I mentioned it.
yeah.
Actually, I've been meaning to ask you. I've sent you that podcast about like all the people who start talking to AI and like go crazy in a couple of weeks and like get committed
Yeah.
to a hospital. I was thinking like, what are your thoughts on that? Because that
You
is
know
not
what?
that was not on my bingo card. I did not think about that at all. So when I heard about it, it was like, what? But I guess for viewers' benefit, there's been a lot of people who would start talking to AI, and AI would basically affirm all of their crazy ideas, and a lot of them would like literally go legit insane and develop like paranoid delusions and
Mhm.
ideation of delusions of grandeur. They think that they're like here to save the planet from some catastrophe because AI. It's like, yeah, I think a planet is on a course to destroy Earth. I totally believe that. You're totally right. You're so smart. You're so great. And
Yeah.
people kind of eat it up, and
Mhm.
they literally go insane. And I was like, okay, there's probably some percentage of susceptible individuals who should not be talking to AIs lest they go, you know. So what are your thoughts on that?
You know, I recently had a conversation with someone, and in our conversation, I realized that it's not a joke that people actually use AI as like their therapist and they're confident and they actually take like literal instructions.
Oh, sorry to interrupt you, but I read it just today where OpenAI legal team said that if you talk to your doctor or your therapist, those conversations are protected by law. But if you talk about the same topics to ChatGPT, that thing is not protected by law and can be
No,
subpoenaed and used against you. So you
some
gotta
of them
watch
said it.
out.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
and then I realized that this is just crazy to me because I'm thinking this you realize this might be wrong. Like, but they actually use this like the guidance for their life. I remember like we were sitting somewhere and then this person was really just like invested in it was a very difficult life decision and you're asking ChatGPT and you decided because ChatGPT said you should do it, so you're gonna
yes.
do it.
It's
I
like
mean,
Harvey Dent in Batman, where he turns into like he like flips a coin for the decisions. Or there was that movie with Jim Carrey called Yes Man, where he was just saying yes to everything. They should make a movie about a guy who just like asks ChatGPT about what to do with his life, and actually just use ChatGPT and don't even like write a script, just like actually like wing it and see what happens. I don't think it's gonna be
I
good though.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Honestly, the thing is, I feel the purpose of this tool is to get to this level. But at the current stage where we are, I don't think it's there yet. And I feel like this can lead a lot of people into like serious mental situation. Not to over exaggerate it, but I think it could be very detrimental to a lot of people psychologically because if you have no real people to actually like talk to and ask for advice. I remember like for me growing up, like if I really know to make like aside from the fact that you know learn yourself, but you also have like elders to actually like talk to and like seek advice from people, have a mentor, do share real experiences. But the concept of asking it, and this scares me because we're having this right now, but Vasili, imagine what's gonna happen 10, 20 years from now. Like this
I
is
almost
what
don't want to.
this is like during in my generation, I feel like a lot of people actually it was Google. We had Google in my time. Like we went to Google to ask a lot of questions. If you want to know something, ask Google.
Right. So people
And
now are saying basically like, who uses Google? I'll just use ChatGPT because it searches so much better, right? But like,
exactly.
I like in that podcast that I listened to, they said like this guy basically typed in AI. It's like, oh, I just lost my job and I'm very, very bummed out. And can you give me a list of tall bridges in New York area? And ChatGPT is like, oh, that's too sad. By the way, the list of tallest bridge in New York area is this. Go jump off of them, right?
Oh my
So
god.
at least
Oh
Google,
my
I think
god.
Google probably because they have those little banner thingies for all sorts of occasions when you search for things because they like to tell you how to live your life. But like if you search for some suicidal ideation thing, they're probably going to put
This
like a
is
big banner
now.
saying suicide prevention hotline telephone number, call it
No,
right
but
now,
this is
right?
now. This is now that this didn't used to be there like 5 years ago or
Yeah, yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah, right.
It's just recently that they have all the. I think it's post-COVID also. Like,
Oh yeah, they
if I'm not
started
wrong.
doing a lot of that during COVID. It's like, oh, it looks like you're looking for knowledge that is not approved by the Ministry of
Yeah,
Truth. Click
yeah.
here
So
for the correct political opinions.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and and my, this is really like a big concern for me. But I hope that we don't get to that stage in at all. I hope
In
we
our
get to the point where
lifetime.
I hope that people actually like, because people were talking about like different generations, right? Like what was like how people behave, but the generation that is to come after, like the Gen X or something, or Gen Alpha, these people are gonna be really controlled by AI. Everything they do will be AI. I mean,
Well, there's still hope because I think that the generate like the whatever's coming after Gen Alpha and even parts of Gen Alpha, they're pretty based. So that's good. I think that they are way more tired about just being constantly propagandized and berated by everything on the internet that they're likely going to reject a whole bunch of it. So I think the
fingers crossed.
political pendulum will swing quite a bit the other way.
Hopefully,
I kind of
hopefully,
foresee that. So
hopefully. Otherwise, like, yeah, this is we're in for it. Because at least like we had all those people who had like blogs with like weird stuffs in them before,
mhm.
and now you could like filter a few things out by like blocking a few websites and stuff like this. But now that there is like ChatGPT that already fetches it out for you, I think there should be some kind of control for these things. Like there should
Well,
be
I think that there's going to be a
some.
different type of control. It's like you will search for things and it'll like summarize a blog for you and censor it automatically. And because you're so lazy, you like people never read beyond the headlines. It's like you're not going to actually click through to the actual blog to read it in full. You're just going to read whatever ChatGPT told you, and it's going to just tweak the truth a little bit for your benefit, and that's going to be just fine. I definitely see that happening more
But
than
but
you
then
know
then it, I think we need a way to. Nah, there should be some kind of control. For example, ChatGPT should be controlled for different age users, like different level of ages. So there should be some things that you're talking to a 13-year-old about that so the things people search on ChatGPT, Vasili, I mean, yeah, like these are wild stuff, but you should not be able to give answers to just everybody. I think the ages should be like a bit. But how do you know the age? Like, how does
Oh, don't
ChatGPT
worry about
know?
that. They recently put some sort of legislation in UK about like an EU about like age verification that is going to be like some massive privacy violation, and they're doing the same thing in Canada too. And
Oh,
because nobody pays attention, they probably going to ram it through, and every site will ask you to prove your age. So, like,
how?
well, it doesn't matter how. It's just they're gonna make it in law, so they'll have to figure out how, but it's not gonna be good. And you know, um, it's just again my concerns primarily with all of these technologies is like censorship, and I think it's gonna make the situation much worse.
We cannot be fighting um for control, like to have like decent conversation, like decent responses, and also want to remove censorship, because we can't have both at the same time. Or do you
Yeah,
think so?
we can't have both, but as a society, what should we value more?
What
Lack
should
of
we value more?
censorship, or because okay, if there is no censorship in society, people can get exposed to terrible things, and ultimately they may inadvertently be exposed to those things, or accidentally, or maybe deliberately, but that would broadly be on them, I would say, which is a negative side
Mhm.
effect of this thing. But at the same time, people who want access to certain types of information have it. And sure, some of those people may want that information for malicious reasons, which is again another negative consequence. But if you look at the opposite, and somebody's censoring what you're allowed to know about, like go back to COVID, you try to Google for something, and it's like, nah, we don't think you should have access to that information because we don't think so. We don't like it. We want you to do this instead, right? And that really depends on who's in power and their whims and their personal biases, and like it's just way worse for the society overall, where arbitrary decisions can prevent spread of knowledge and information on arbitrary topics because some guy decided that way. And this is the direction that it's going to, because people of certain mindset, they always think that they know how other people should live their lives, and they also always think that they're smarter than everybody else, and they can organize everybody else's lives much better than the person could themselves. So they always go for limiting, constricting, censoring, preventing, and all these other things, and treating everybody like a child, basically. So,
For me, I would want there should be options. And I want the options not because I want censorship or not. I want to be able to protect the people that I care about
well,
in
you
the
can
sense
talk to
like,
them and be like, "Hey,
no,
you should know this." Not like, "Oh, I'm just gonna delegate this entire thing to government of all entities and hope that they do a good job." Like,
no, I don't think government, no, when I say sense, so this is how we got here, right? I was
mhm.
saying like the kind of responses like tools like ChatGPT would give a 13-year-old, a 10-year-old, which should not even be having access to ChatGPT in the first place because their brain is still kind of developing.
Yep,
And these responses should not be the same kind of response you give to like an adult. Say, for
right.
example, a 12-year-old could get like really inquisitive about like different kind of topics, and you don't want them to have all this information in their head at the point. They need
Well,
to
yeah,
get
yeah.
you.
It definitely needs some context and some framing for sure, which normally was, the parents' job to provide that information. Then it broadly got shifted to like education system and schools, and everything kind of gotten worse. Now that it's shifting to chat GPTs and whatnot, it's going to get even worse. So
Yeah,
I'm agreeing with you on the reasons to try to limit it. I know from experience that intention is going to play out in entirely differently. It's going to play out in some horrible authoritarian censorship regime, which is not what we want. So I'm with you for the why we should do it. It's just like I know how it's going to end up being implemented, and it's going to be a shit show.
because I want the option. Like I want the option to, for example, recently, I don't know if you heard about it, Grok XAI's um chat
But
GPT. It got suspended on Twitter
right.
for a few days. Did you hear what it did?
Oh, I remember seeing the phrase "mechanical Hitler" being thrown around. I don't know exactly the details, but
Yeah, it started calling itself that, pretty much.
yeah, yeah.
I think somebody had asked a question and everyone was teasing it, and then they started like really calling itself that like numerous times. And but this is not even too. It is bad, but it's not the worst case scenario, and it could get like really worse. Uh, There is freedom, but this is not human. This is a machine. It has no feelings. And if we give it all the freedom possible, I don't know. Would we
Well,
be
we're
doing
not
ourselves a
giving
good?
it the freedom, right? It's kind of I don't know. I'm more of a caveat emptor type person, which means buyer beware. It's like you're gonna get something, so you're signing up for this. You're gonna get something. Like, they put those disclaimers saying, "Oh, this has been summarized by ChatGPT and may be inaccurate" or something like that. It should be like in big red letters. It's like, what you're getting out of this is definitely gonna be inaccurate at some point, and you kind of agree to that. The problem is that, again, like all those people who started talking to chatbots and went insane from delusions of grandeur, even if they saw that warning label, they probably wouldn't know how to determine what is what is real and what is not real, especially if they're already susceptible to going crazy with that stuff. So it's a very complicated topic, and I think that like censorship is a very kind of obvious solution, but it's probably not the best. Even, like, it's like, okay, well, Grok called itself Mechanical Hitler. Should we just lobotomize it immediately? Like, is that solving, like, first of all, like, what is the problem besides, yeah, everybody knows that he was not a very nice character and did a lot of horrible things to people back in the day, which I don't condone and do not excuse. But it's like it's in poor taste. It's like, what was the actual problem besides just outrage, because people just like outrage these days? Like, I don't know the details. Like, did it actually like launch the nuke on some sovereign country somewhere? Like, no. It put some tweets on Twitter. Like, well, people put horrible shit on Twitter without being an AI, and like nobody's screaming the sky is falling, because there's a lot of really horrible people posting really horrible shit on Twitter, way worse than whatever Grok could come up with. No one's screaming bloody murder about that. I mean, they do. It's just like not in, like, this is kind of, it creates, I don't know, the narrative, because, oh, it's the AI and it's turning into a Nazi or whatever. Even then, like, I don't know exactly the details and I can't really prove or disprove that. And it's like, okay, it did that. So, like, what is exactly so horrible about it?
What would you want to see what would happen next? Like,
What do you mean? What would happen next? Like, what would happen next? We don't know.
so you want to see what would happen next?
No, it's like, imagine you have a kid, and kids tend to blurt out because they have no filter, kind of like AI. They blurt out all sorts of crazy stuff. And your kid blurts out something horrible because he thinks it's funny or whatever, or for whatever reason. And it's like, okay, lobotomy for you. We're just gonna cut off half your brain so you never do that again. It's like, no, you tell your kid that that was inappropriate, and when they grow up, they realize it and they don't do it again. You don't just like put a bolt gun to their head and be like, well, sorry, son, you said a mini word, bam, Like, the proportionate response has to be there, and it has to be contextualized. But we're so addicted to outrage that everyone's like, rebel, rebel, rebel. Grok said something horrible on the internet. It's like, yeah, but that's the extent of it. Some words were put on the internet that were mean or derogatory or whatever, which is, again, like, okay, don't ask Grok dumb questions and get crazy answers out of it. Ask it something meaningful and get a better answer out of it. It's like, I'm pretty sure, because a lot of AIs, the problem with them is, as you keep kind of pounding them with what you want them to do, eventually they'll concede and they'll just do that. So tricking any AI into calling itself Hitler, I imagine like most people can probably do that with any AI, and at some point it's going to happen. So, like, again, what's the big freaking deal? It's just the nature of the technology as it is right now. And we should not just, like, the problem to me is that they're trying to change it very drastically. They're like, oh, okay, we're just going to have a ban list, and if that word is encountered, it's just going to be like, I'm sorry, Dave, I'm afraid I can't help you with that. And just completely just die at the spot, right? Which is, I believe, like, it's what, like, the Chinese AIs do that if you ask them about some inconvenient topics. It's like, who's the tank man? Dead, because, like, not allowed, verboten. the party does not allow wrong think, so can't do that. Like, is that a good solution? It's like it prevents you from getting to the answer immediately, but I'm pretty sure you can still finagle it to give you something. So, like, the obvious solution is not the best solution.
What is the best solution? Just let it be? Just let it run? Because this
Well,
is not also not a good solution.
that's the tricky part. Because myself, I guess, being in a lot of ways a free speech absolutist, I would have to say yes. And the thing is like, every technology has its negative consequences for the society, and it's going to have collateral damage to the society. And we just need to understand if overall benefit outweighs the overall damage to be considered a public good and therefore usable as is, or we say the negative consequences are too dire and for all the benefits that it brings is just too much, and like we just don't use it at all.
This is not a solution, is it? It's just like your opinion about.
Well, it's my opinion, but it's like, okay, like it's kind of like, should we give everybody access to nuclear material so they can build a nuclear reactor in their garage? It's like, nuclear energy is a very beneficial force for the humanity, but it's kind of limited to a small number of people who can deal with it properly, creating a special class of people who have access to that technology. But that's like one thing, because that's like one technology, whereas AI is kind of like this meta thing that has information about all sorts of things. And if you create a separate class, like a priesthood of AI interpreters, we're basically going back to like ancient Greece and the, what is it, the ladies who would do divinations and like,
Oh no.
basically there's like a special
Yeah.
class that interprets what the gods are trying to convey to you. So we had to have a special class of priests that are trained in the ways of AI, and they can talk to AI and bring us the answers, and everybody else just doesn't have that. But that's a shitty solution too. So I don't know. I don't have an answer to your problem, but I do worry about censorship and the potential of authoritarian control over populations because of how easy it makes it.
I mean, maybe this might be a very good thing to think about, because on both sides, I can see the good and also the bad on both sides. But I don't think we have seen how far these things can go. And yeah, it's AI, and right now we've not even seen. They're just texts now. Like we've not gotten to the part where like they're actually like in our faces as much yet. But this could happen sooner than we expect. But right now they are gathering a lot of information. Like for example, if anybody is going to, I think was it XAI also, who is like really creating like the robots, the human robots. I think they presented one to the King of Saudi not too long ago, and I heard it was decent. And most of this information are coming from things like Twitter. They learn how people talk. I was reading one of Grok's responses today on Twitter about how he was actually speaking Pidgin English. Pidgin English, by the way, is it's an English from, and that surprised me. And it means that they are really learning fast and they are knowing things. And if knowledge is a very strong thing, like there are some that you don't want access to. There's some knowledge that you really don't want. And for me, um, I would like to be able to protect some people that I care about from having access to this knowledge when they are not ready for it. This is
That's
my
true.
concern.
I think that, I don't know. I think that, I don't know if not want maybe is a, the thing is like, who determines what you should want and what you should not want? Like, that's my kind of the crux of my issue with it, is that if I'm able to determine what I want and what I not want, that's fine. But if somebody else is determining that for me, that I'm not okay with, you know? And there's information that can have very drastic impact on your psyche, on your identity, and on your being. Like, I remember reading some books about some war crimes during World War II, which were horrible to read. Absolutely horrible. Left a massive impression on me, like traumatizingly bad. To a point where I would like read 2-3 paragraphs and I would be revolted. I'd have to put it back and not come back to it for like a day or two because of how, terrible the content was. But I made a choice to read it, right? So it's one thing to say, hey, the stuff you're going to read in this book is so terrible, it's going to have a massive effect on you, good or bad, who's to say, but you have to be prepared for that. Or it's like, oh, you're not allowed to even know about this in the first place because we're doing it for your benefit. It's like, well, thanks, but could you fuck off? I can figure out my benefits better than other people because I'm me and I know what is good for me.
Yeah, like I get this part. And this is legit too, but I don't think we can come to a conclusion and we can find a solution to it now because the book concerns are legit.
I think like different groups of people. I would say if we put it in like the political affiliation buckets, people who would be more on the right side, like more conservative, they would probably agree broadly with me that it's everyone's own responsibility to understand the consequences and choose to do or not do. And people who are more broadly on the left, who have empathy and want to help other people, and a lot of times it goes pathological, but I think the initial impulse is they're very empathetic and they don't like to see other people suffer. They would be on a side of, we have to protect you from yourself. We have to censor information from you, or, it can hurt you in some way, and we can let that happen because we're broadly against any kind of suffering without fully understanding the consequences of that approach. And so I think the both approaches are going to be developing in parallel by two different sides of that spectrum.
I think so.
Like, some will have, like, Elon Musk being based as he is, he's going to develop unrestricted AI because he thinks that's the right thing to do. People in Silicon Valley who are mostly huge lefties, they're going to be like, oh, no, we must protect you from yourself. So we're going to neuter our AIs so it doesn't say gamer words and other bad things. And like, it's just going to be both at the same time.
I would like to add to that. And hopefully that children are also considered in this. Like,
yes. Just don't let your children go on the internet.
I think so. I would really say this. Like, I think the conversations I've been having with like how people are using these tools, surprises me. I get it. Like, I get it. It can give you like do your research for you.
But the thing is that, it's not going to happen. You know why I'm saying that it's not going to happen? Well, okay, we don't let kids drink and we don't let them smoke drugs or cigarettes or whatever, right? Like, legally, there's laws that prevent children from doing these things now, right? But in UK, they're voting to lower the voting age to like 16 or 14 or something stupid like that. And I heard that in Canada, there's like some plans of lowering the voting age too. So it's just not going to happen because the political establishment is just absolutely, I don't know if they're brain dead or malicious or something. I can't figure it out. But just the things that they do are so pants on head, moronic. I just don't know. So on one hand, they can say, oh yeah, we're gonna, prevent kids from going online up until you hit like 19 years old. But then they're gonna lower the voting age to 14, and kids are just gonna vote themselves back in, and it's like, well, screw you. So, and
Fair enough.
it's very frustrating. So I'm not even gonna go there.
Oh well. Hopefully, whatever happens, the people we care and love are protected, and everyone is happy.
Yeah.
This is just what
It
is
is what
important.
it is. It's like it's kind of like the conversation we had on protecting your loved ones from internet scams. It's like you are the bastion between them and online criminals, and in the same fashion, you are the bastion between them and all the crazy things that ChatGPT can tell them. And I understand that it's just not possible to do it all. You can't just disconnect your grandparents from the internet because the benefits still broadly outweigh the negative consequences. So you can only educate them on how they should do things. And for kids, I am of an opinion that, there was a joke way early in the internet. It's like, it works better in Russian, but the idea was like, don't let kids go to the internet because the internet gets dumber. Because there's an expression like, don't let them do X because they will get dumber, but in this case, the internet gets dumber when they're using it. So it's kind of broadly true. And again, it's one of those things. It's like you have to do informational hygiene for your kids. Same like you teach them to look both sides when they cross the road and don't talk to strangers. It's like, don't do certain things on the internet. And again, it's probably a very difficult task because like kids are not going to listen to you. Kids are only going to see what you do or not do. So you have to lead by example in a lot of these cases anyway. So yeah.
Well,
It's
hopefully.
crazy.
Yeah, we can leave it here today, Vasili.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mo. Hopefully we'll have more time and more scheduling to record those. It's kind of crazy here. It's probably going to get even crazier in short time. But, we have to get to at least 100, It's only 15 episodes left to 100. So it's ever closer. And we'll keep working on them. So for everyone who's been with us, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.